I'm a human being, and this is the most important part of who I
Love
am.
that.
People. So my passion is really working towards serving and helping others. So my journey basically started in Ethiopia. So
Ethiopia.
where, yes, at the age of 13, and where I was living in a very big house. But outside my house were young children playing in the street, barefoot, with no food, no electricity, no water, and you can imagine. So that at the age of 13 stayed as a picture, if you want, in my mind. And I knew at that age that I need to do something about that. So this is me. And
if you have this short message to talk to the youngsters, to the young girl that is dreaming up high, to the young boy who's like sitting behind this PlayStation screen, what would you say in 2 lines? Ladies and gentlemen, Monday Talks again. This is Daniel Talkout from Monday Talks every Monday with a new episode, new guest. Great mind, great stories. So today's guest is a very special one. Her name is Noha Hefny. And Noha is like been all over the countries, and she was a serial entrepreneur, and she's like more innovative of all kind of recent and more advanced, let's say, world trends in the globe. So the best way to introduce Noha is to give her the mic. So hi Noha. Good morning.
Hi, Daniel, and thank you for hosting me this morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, our pleasure. So how about you taking the mic and introduce who is Noha?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, before anything and before the journey and the career and this, or who I am in my daily life, I'm a human being. And this is the most important part of who I am.
That.
And a human being in every sense of the word, you know, bringing human values and integrating that into my everyday life to help people. So my passion is really working towards serving and helping others. So that has been what has directed my life for the last 22 years and since I was very young. So my journey basically started in Ethiopia. So where, yes, at the age of 13, and where I was living in a very big house. But outside my house were young children playing in the street, barefoot, with no food, no electricity, no water, and you can imagine. So that at the age of 13 stayed as a picture, if you want, in my mind. And I knew at that age that I need to do something about that. So this is me, and all my career choices, all my decisions on what to do, where to go, where to live, were dictated by an internal belief that I can make a difference, and that this difference is not limited to a country or a city. It's global. It needs to be a global change. So this is who I am. Apart from that, if I go to the formal, titles and this, I mean, I'm someone who was born in New Zealand to Egyptian parents. So I'm Egyptian and proud. And I've lived in 7 countries around the world. So I've lived in Switzerland, in Ethiopia, in Norway. I've spent some time in Egypt as well during my university years, where I graduated from the American University in Cairo. And then later on moved to Tunisia, Algeria, Sudan, working on the field in refugee camps with the UN. And I also served UNESCO as a consultant. And then I ended up in the UAE, where I went into the field of communications and corporate social responsibility. And at that stage, I spent 10 years in the corporate world, working for PepsiCo, McKinsey, and heading, their communication and social responsibility functions for the region. And at some point, when I reached the leadership level, after a couple of years, I really thought to myself, is this it? Is this
Time
where I
time
want
to love.
my life?
Time to
Yes,
leave.
exactly.
Yeah.
To end. And I was like, no, there is, I'm searching more. There was something missing. There was something missing beyond the money, the title, the big teams, and all the privileges that you get from the corporate world, which, again, and the experiences as well, which I'm very grateful for. But I wanted to search for my purpose and for meaning. And I left the corporate world back in 2017. And from there, I have been a serial social entrepreneur. So this is who I am.
Okay,
And
let's talk about more about Noha. It's like you've been there in UN, FMCG, management consulting, social impact, social entrepreneurship, international development. All this like has defined the shape of Noha today. So can you share with us what a defining moment or experience or a story that has shaped who you are today with those beliefs and those different understanding from that little child who was looking outside the street, looking at kids playing barefoot?
I mean, a defining moment, honestly, is becoming a mother. So I'm a mother of two boys. And
Oh, God bless.
yeah, I mean, all my life, I was really thriving, thriving to grow, to succeed, to deliver impact in different spaces, right? Until I got my children. And when I got my first child, I realized that honestly, the most important thing in my life, or that really defines me as a person, is my role as a mother. Because if I really care about impact, one big part of this responsibility is raising children that can, be, contributors to this world, to the society in a positive way. So, and it's not easy, to be very honest. And I think a lot has changed since we were youth and since we were young, and adapting to this and gaining the tools and the methods, to be a great mother and to bring up these children in a good way, has been my biggest challenge and also opportunity. So that would be the biggest defining moment for me in my life, changing my perception, from things that used to bother me so much. I realized that they mean nothing really, and that they are very small in comparison to the responsibility that I have as a mother.
Taking this from your angle, do you believe that great leaders came because of great mom? I mean, mothers can create leaders or can create losers.
I mean, honestly, we have a big role to play in how we raise our children and how we ensure that, they grow up having the confidence also to lead and, building their shaping, how they carve their place in the world. I mean, definitely mothers are definitely a very strong and influential force in the lives of children. So yes, I totally agree with you. It is a determined factor, and that really influences future leadership.
Mm-hmm. Okay, going back to roles, just like you said, in your role as a founder and CEO of People of Impact, what inspired you to start this social impact advisory firm and digital ecosystem, and how do you measure success?
Absolutely. So basically, People of Impact is the culmination of all the gaps that I've seen in the social impact space. So if you think of my career, I worked for the UN, so for international organizations on social impact. And then I also worked on corporate social responsibility, so experienced social impact in the private sector. And then again, as a social entrepreneur. And throughout this journey, I've worked with governments, with NGOs, with private sector, and a whole range of stakeholders. During this time, I've seen various gaps. So starting with, the lack of awareness about issues, or if there is awareness, sometimes it's dictated by trends and information that people read online and not necessarily accurate. So again, there is a need to share information and to drive this awareness. Hence, the need for a digital ecosystem or social network that raises awareness on social issues. Then I also saw a gap between, accessing networks, knowledge, and funding by small NGOs and small organizations or social enterprises versus the big ones. So there is an inequality there. Most of the big NGOs and the big organizations are accessing a lot of the donor funding, for example. So they are able to grow their organizations and succeed, as NGOs to help their beneficiaries. But there are smaller ones at the grassroots level in communities that are not having the same opportunity. So my platform, again, is a way to bring, through technology, an equal chance to access global networks, global knowledge for these smaller organizations that are trying to deliver impact. And last, but certainly not least, one of the other gaps is innovation. So innovation in the social sector is very slow. There are lots of programs, for example, that get recycled. So again, the idea behind People of Impact and launching this advisory service and also, an ecosystem for social impact is really about advancing and accelerating innovation through collaboration between different stakeholders who are on the same platform. So this is really it. And then last but certainly not least, it is a place for young people to come, share their insights, and learn about social responsibility. Because in order to succeed in the future and in order to also contribute, to creating a sustainable world, young people need access to mentors, information, opportunities that they can use in order to build their knowledge in that direction so that they can become effective future leaders. Because leadership without a sustainable leadership mindset is not going to be very successful, because the future is sustainability. In my opinion, businesses need to be integrating profit and purpose in all business models, whether you are a social enterprise or not. And we are seeing this transformation with the rise of, ESG and many other frameworks that are calling on private sector companies to step up on sustainability. And we are seeing a momentum. But again, we need to spread knowledge, we need to build capacity, and we need to really engage people in design thinking that delivers for social impact.
Okay, social impact. Let's say I am a young generation and I want to make a difference in life. And all of a sudden I've heard this term. So what Noha has to say to explain to those youngsters, what do you mean by social impact? How can I be a part of that thing? And what does it mean?
Okay, as a young person, there's so much that can be done. So first of all, it starts with an idea. So for example, when many young people that I interact with today are in schools or universities, they want to start a project that makes a difference, let's say, on the environment or on another social cause. So it starts with an idea, like I want to do a campaign or a project. At the end of the day, many of them, again, don't know where to start, don't know what to do, and they need mentorship. So what I would say to all of them is, if you have an idea, start it and start small. And if you have an idea, share it and network with others who can help you and mentor you to start it. I mean, many young people I meet are worried, to share their ideas because someone else might take the idea. But the reality is most of the ideas have been thought about around the world by many others before us. And we may think it's so unique and novel, but the reality is it's probably 90% that somewhere in the world someone has thought about it. So reaching out, getting the mentorship, that you need in order to start your campaign or your project on social impact and so on is very important. I think there is a basic rule to any social impact project that we need to take into account when building new ideas. The first one is that your idea needs to be impactful. And what that means is like, what kind of impact is it going to deliver is the first question. The second question is to whom and to how many people. So who are your beneficiaries? Who are you going to be serving through your idea? The third one, is it sustainable? So sometimes we could create a campaign and that is short-lived. But again, if I'm creating a program or a project, I need to look at how does this program can deliver impact on the long term and serve many more people. And the last is it scalable? Can I grow it? Can I expand it? Can I take it to many more schools? Can I take it to many more universities, many more countries, cities, etc.? Can I grow this program? Or can others, if they read about it as a best practice, decide to take it and can easily replicate it? So I think my advice to young people, to sum it up, is you have so much power to become a force for good. So the idea is, if you have an idea, start. If you have questions, ask for help. And you'll be amazed by the amount of people who will be there to support your ideas and your projects, because the world actually needs young people. They are the present and the future for us to drive towards a more sustainable and equal future. So this is...
How do I feel like this thing is for me? Like I'm a youngster, and all young people, they have ideas. They don't believe, this concept of like, I'm right, but nobody understands what I'm saying. It's like I have this idea, it works and it's successful, but nobody's like understanding that this could work. Everybody has this thought of, I can make a difference. How can I make sure that this thing is for me? Where should I be? Lost in what? Or is this thing for me or not?
So I just want to say one thing. So everybody, in my opinion, is a person of impact and can drive impact. And social impact is for everyone. And why I say this, you don't have to go and start a project or a social enterprise or work for the UN, for example, like I did, in order to deliver impact. You can take impact to anywhere you are. You can take it to your workplace. You can take it to your family, to your community. And it all starts with your values, knowing what you stand for. So, for example, I stand for impact. I stand for excellence. I stand for authenticity, and these are my values, which mean I stand for justice. So if I would be in any situation where any of these values would play out, I would be the person in the room that stands up for my values and that interjects to say, this is not just, or this doesn't deliver impact, or, you need to be authentic, you need to be yourself, etc. So what I want to say is, the starting point for social impact, and it is for everyone, is to know your values. What do you stand for? Because that will help you make a decision on where you can engage, what projects can you do, what kind of people do you want to collaborate with, etc. The second is, having the values and knowing what idea I want to do is great, but without a plan and a blueprint for action, you'll not go very far. So the second part is having a vision. Where do I want to go in my life? What is my purpose is the second question. What is my mission in this world? All of us, we were created, for a much bigger purpose than going to school and having, for example, children and, making money every month and going to sleep and dying at the end of life. Life is much more, much more than this.
So you're focused mainly on two categories, women and youngsters. And let me just hold some credits for you. You have been recognized one of the top 100 women in social enterprise in 2021 and one of Asia's 100 women power leaders in 2022. So that's something really huge to achieve. So taking it from a woman perspective now in this community, and let's say you are coming from a global community because you're New Zealand, Ethiopia, Egypt, so now UAE. So you're coming from a global culture. the challenges that a woman has to face to be recognized as a leader on top of the world, or recognized as an expert in social impact, making some value in life. What could it be? And what was yours?
There are so many challenges. I mean, in my journey, I'll just use that. I mean, I ended up working in a very male-dominated field as soon as I graduated. So as I mentioned, I ended up working in refugee camps, in the humanitarian sector, where in some cases I could be the only woman, in a team or in a field, because at my time, now it has changed a lot with this, with the new generation. A lot of them are going into humanitarian and going to the field and taking it all the way. But during my time, I was literally the only woman, or amongst another two, maybe, out of a team of 30, that are on the field in East Sudan working with refugees, for instance.
Wow. Okay.
This is one. So at the leadership level, when I transitioned from, into a people leader and started heading a function, again, sitting on a leadership team of 12 with another two women. So women are always lonely, in certain settings, in most settings.
They say you need the support of your brother, you need the support of your husband to stand up, or not necessarily.
No, I mean, one aspect is how do we navigate dynamics when we find ourselves in professional male-dominated spaces? This is one. The second is the work-life balance and how we can drive, a balance between our work, careers, and our families. And here is where, as you say, you need a support network. You need your husband to be supportive, or if you're not married, your family, etc., to take on some of the responsibilities and burdens that you have to carry. Most of us, like, for example, in my case, we take care of our children, but also of elderly, elders in our care. And that, again, all these responsibilities create an added, stress for us to balance all of this. So I think these are all challenges. But also, I have to say that in the world today, women are paid less than men for work of equal value by 23%. And that, again, has to change, because we have seen over and over again, women achieving academically, gaining the skills that are required for different jobs. And that should not be again, undermined or treated in an unequal way in comparison to men. So equal pay remains a challenge. Work-life balance remains a challenge. And a lot of people say, the women should work on themselves. The women should, try to balance their life and do time management. Yes, we should. But also there's a big role for organizations to change the dynamic and the cultures, and to offer an enabling environment for the women so that they can balance both their life and their career. And if they are mothers, for example, to have the right infrastructure and the right environment that can enable them to balance being a mother and being a working professional. I believe no woman should be made guilty or should have to make a choice between being a mother and having a job or becoming a leader. That should be basically, that should end, in my view. But I know every day that women go through this guilt factor, the choice, the trade-off that they have to make.
I'm totally with you. So, Noha Hefny.
Yes.
Where are you from your dream? Have you achieved one?
Honestly, I have achieved so much, but I feel like I've just scratched the surface. I don't think I have achieved my dream yet. And for me, it's a continuous journey of delivering impact in different ways and through different mediums, in life. So wherever I will be, whether it's an international organization or a corporate entity or as an entrepreneur, I will continue to search for collaborations, co-creations with others, because I really believe in partnerships in order to make a difference. And my dream is to be able to fund, multiple social impact projects and enterprises, particularly at the grassroots level, for example, in communities where really, situations are disadvantaged, and to be able to support entrepreneurs and innovators who are trying to give back to the community and don't have the funds and the means to do so. So one day I hope to be running some sort of social enterprise and fund that can support these grassroots entrepreneurs.
Running, pursuing, aiming, let's say objectives, running. Okay, let's say you're on this stage and it's all dark and you're only on that spot and you were asked this question: are you happy?
I can say I'm satisfied, I'm fulfilled. I feel that I
you did not say you're happy.
I don't think I'm 100% happy. I don't think that anybody can reach a full, happiness, because I think that would distort the balance, in life. I mean, there has to be some parts of life that remain a challenge for us to learn and evolve and expand and grow as human beings. But I can say that...
What makes you happy?
Being with my family, being with those that I love, seeing my children succeed is what really makes me happy, actually.
Aren't you now with your family?
Yes, but I mean seeing my children achieve and grow and succeed and,
But this is their happiness. This is their happiness, right?
Yeah.
So what's yours?
Honestly, mine is, bringing hope to people who feel that they are completely lost or in despair. I feel that showing people that they have so much power than they believe that they do, helping people achieve their dreams. Again, that fulfills me a lot.
Wow.
My personal happiness. Personal happiness is experiencing different cultures and bringing people together. Connecting people, being that synergist that makes the world better is what makes me happy.
Let's say, what's the next 2 things in your bucket list to be happy, to be more happy? You have 2 things. Let's say this is the wish bucket list. What would you do?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's not a bucket list, but recently, I decided that I need to focus on my self-care a lot more. I don't really take care of my well-being. Sometimes I forget to eat. I don't drink enough water. I don't take time off. I mean, imagine I work as a consultant for the UN and I run a social startup and I have 2 children and I have a household to run. So I have been like that, in a very busy life for the past many years, like more than 15 years. So I think for me at this stage to really be happy, I need to take care of myself. I need to take time off. I need to go to retreats, take breaks, meditate, take a walk, So I'm really working on this well-being kind of aspect in order to feel more balanced, more fulfilled as well. Yani, alhamdulillah.
One last question to wrap it up because we only have 5 minutes. You've been there and you have tried all those social impact things. You've been with, you've seen the poor, the barefoot people, you've seen the high luxury people, and you were coming from a global citizen. Okay. Now you have the experience and you have been through many years of being serial entrepreneur and all that. I cannot summarize everything you've been through, but you are a successful, well-recognized woman in the world. If you have this short message to talk to the youngsters, to the young girl that is dreaming up high, to the young boy who's like sitting behind this PlayStation screen, what would you say in 2 lines?
I would say you matter. You matter, and everything you have to say or do makes a difference. And I would also say that build courage. If you need anything in life, you need courage, because to make a change and pivot, for example, through so many fields and try to reach your dreams, like you were saying earlier, you know, it takes a lot of courage, because your journey is never a constant line. It will always be a trajectory of ups and downs. And if you don't have the courage to go back up when you are down, and to use these down times as, you know, sources of power for the next step, you know, to upskill yourself, to improve yourself until you know, life, you know, transforms to the next step, you know, you again, you know, you will not reach what you want to reach. So I think courage, belief in yourself, and knowing that you matter. So having the confidence that you matter, your voice matters, your actions matter, and can make a difference. And I think this is very important. And last, knowing your values, as I said, and driving towards a purpose that can give you a bigger meaning and can motivate you when these times don't go as you planned, or when you're feeling down. So I think this is what I would leave everyone with.
Thank you very much, Noha, for being here with us. And it is amazing insight for everybody to listen to you and have these valuable insights, so that they can use it as tools to survive and thrive, especially for youngsters. So thank you again for being my guest today on Monday Talks. And for our viewers, thank you very much for watching this episode, and stay tuned for the next one. And in the links, you'll find some links to talk to Noha, and I'm sure you'll find very invaluable insights you will get, and you will have to improve your life. Either you're an entrepreneur or a youngster or someone planning for a bigger dream. Thank you very much, Noha.
Thank you so much, Daniel. It's a pleasure.